Alright guys, so today we're gonna be reacting to this guy. Sprilling, wise, brand new day, can solve the Batman problem. Shout out to this guy, Home of Comics. So hold up, let me get everything set first, hold up. Okay, nice. Let's do this, bro.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Home of Comics. This is Braden back again with another DC-centric video. Although today we're really discussing
Brandon.
both Marvel and DC. Because what we're going to be discussing is why I believe DCU needs to merge with Matt Reeves' Batverse, why that is now arguably the best option for both the DCU and the Batverse success, and how Spiderman Brand New Day paints the great formula for the DCU to work with. So when it comes down to what might be the best option for the DCU, we're seeing a universe right now where Batman is not present. And while most people would probably be okay with this, for example, Marvel, the MCU took forever to bring in Spider-Man. He came in Phase 3, the very first movie of the phase, Captain America Civil War.
Thanks. Well, I could have stuck the landing a little better. It's just a new suit. Wait, it's something. Mr. Stark, it's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't really need it.
With no tease prior to that. And we haven't had the X-Men this whole time. They just introduced the Fantastic Four. So when we get back to Marvel, a lot of Marvel's heavy hitters haven't entered the scene or have only just barely entered it in the MCU. So it's perfectly fine if the DCU doesn't start off with Batman. We started with Superman. We did Supergirl. We've had a few projects in between that carry over parts of the DCEU story they wanted to keep in Commandos and Peacemaker Season 2.
Peacemaker, yeah.
Forward, past, Supergirl, Green Lantern's a perfect example. Lanterns is a case where you're taking that B-list character in Green Lantern and you're expanding them into the cinematic universe proper in the hopes of establishing them into a more of an A-lister, but still, obviously, this is a very popular character that people are very familiar with. When it comes to Batman in the DCU, we know Brave and the Bold is still in development. It's being directed by Andy Muschietti, with Christina Hodson writing the script, and having a director and writer attached typically means good things for a project. However, it's been well over 3 years since this project was first announced in the Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters announcement trailer. Back then, it was in development, and it remains in development. There's a lot of news that Muschietti is doing Stephen King adaptations instead. It is one of my favorite movies. It Chapter 2 is also one of my favorite movies. And Welcome to Derry is one of my favorite horror shows. All three being very high quality, at least to me, means I want Muschietti to keep working on Stephen King projects. I might even cover them on the channel when they come out, because I'm very excited for the future of Welcome to Derry.
It already came out, so yeah.
But is Muschietti the right pick for Brave?
Season 2 though, yeah.
Let me put it to you this way. Matt Reeves is a better director than Andy Muschietti. If I'm James Gunn, I want the best directors on my main universe projects. Comparing the Batman Part 2 to Brave and the Bold, it's clear one creative's vision is simply going to be better, because they're more talented. This is not a knock on Andy Muschietti. He's a great director. Matt Reeves is better than Andy Muschietti, however. I'll also say that Brave and the Bold's concept, where Robin and probably other Bat family members will appear in that movie, is important for a cinematic universe. We don't yet know if the Batman Part 2 will feature Robin. It's been reported by people like Jeff Snyder that it's possible he'll show up, and it would be nice for that to happen.
Jeff Snyder.
We've seen enough solo Batman stories at this point. We had 2 solo Batman movies in the 90s. So seeing Batman back again with Robin would be great for both the general audience and fans alike.
So it would be a fresh take.
Brave and the Bold seems like the better choice for the DCU. That said, I do think we're likely to see Robin in the Batman Part 2 anyway. And even if we don't, I still think it's going to clearly be the better movie here. As far as we can tell, the creative process has gone much more smoothly for Batman Part 2 than for Brave and the Bold. There have been plenty of delays in the Batman Part 2, which is fair to point out, but even coming out in 2028, it's still arriving far sooner than Brave and the Bold will.
Yep.
A movie that isn't filming,
Matt Reeves is cooking.
Doesn't have the finished script, and hasn't cast anyone yet. It's going to take a long time to come out. Right now, we're looking at a DCU where Batman possibly isn't present for the first 4 or 5 years, which for me personally is a bit unacceptable when you own the rights to the character. Some people have said Dynamic Duo has Batman in it, so maybe that counts as the DCU, but I don't think that Dynamic Duo is going to be a DCU movie. Nothing about Dynamic Duo screams that typical DC Universe origin story for Jason Todd and Dick Grayson. It looks far more like an Elseworld story than anything else. And Clayface could introduce Batman.
Oh yeah.
But it seems way more likely that
Clayface.
So I don't think DC was ever
I'm excited for that.
Batman anytime soon. He's not cast as far as any of us can tell, and I don't see him appearing in anything before his own project. I've mostly discussed why the DCU needs to merge with the Batverse, but why does the Batverse need the DC universe?
Reeves, you mean?
Reeves is essentially building the perfect Gotham.
Yep.
Batman deals with corruption, vigilantism, and different members of Batman's rogues gallery existing within Gotham. The Penguin's going to expand on that last part in particular by zeroing in on one specific gangster and building out that corruption storyline. So there's few ways that Penguin specifically has sort of helped here. It could be establishing the Court of Owls for the Batman to fight. It could also just be giving Batman a fully fleshed out villain to work against in the Penguin. We've never really seen this from a Batman project before. I don't think there's ever been a fully realized villain in a Batman film. Usually you get the Joker once, or another villain once, and that's it. And this is very akin to the work that was done on Batman the Animated Series, where a lot of those episodes were one-off villains, with an occasional main villain sort of tying everything together. So I think Penguin, carrying into the Batman Part 2, establishes a clear rogues gallery for Batman to work with.
True.
Making it just a trilogy seems like a missed opportunity, especially once these characters start consistently popping up across projects. We also know a Poison Ivy show is in development for the Reverse that was written by Jeff Snyder and confirmed by other sources as well. Like
Jeff Snyder
Apocalyptic Horseman.
always reporting.
Now that we know
Apocalypse?
it's Reverse
Damn.
and not the DCU, that strikes me as
Oh, wait, no,
odd.
that's a reporter, I think.
Poison Ivy isn't exactly a grounded character. You can do a grounded take on her, sure, but I feel like her story would be much better explored within the confines of the actual DC universe.
True,
Tap into
true.
the Green, connect her directly to Swamp Thing there. Put Harley Quinn there too.
Oh, Swamp
There are
Thing.
plenty of ways for the Batverse to merge with the DCU without limiting what Reeves is trying to tell story-wise. If he ever wants to move past this grounded take in Part 2 or in Part 3, he'd be able to loosen up instead of staying confined to the rules that he's set for his own universe. So, how does Spider-Man Brand New Day fit into all this? It just came out a few days ago, and spoilers are ahead. It does something pretty wild. It's really the first time in the MCU we've seen a Netflix-era Daredevil character step up in a big way. Sure, the Punisher had shown up before, but not in a Disney Plus show. And Charlie Cox had shown up before in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yep, No Way
It was
Home.
also a PG-13 movie, but not necessarily as Daredevil. But this is the first time that we saw the Punisher suit up in that context.
Yep.
The Punisher is hard R, right? One Last Kill was super hard R.
I haven't watched this. I need to watch this, bro.
We talk about the movies that he had before this, not the MCU, but Punisher Warzone is a very, very, very violent film. But Punisher One Last Kill is a very, very violent special presentation set directly within the
MCU, yeah.
right? His last solo outing was super violent and graphic. It's not something that kids can watch. Brand New Day, on the other hand, is fairly kid-friendly. Maybe not necessarily in its themes, but certainly in what it shows on screen. And this might be the Punisher's best MCU appearance yet. I'm not saying his other appearances were bad. I think he was great in Daredevil Season 2 and in Born Again Season 1. But when the Punisher is on his own, it's not nearly as fun as when he's playing off of the other characters. I'm not saying that Punisher and Batman are alike, exactly. But they both have that dark, gritty, grounded tone, especially when you're comparing it to Reeves' Batman.
Yeah, they're the same team.
Punisher isn't off fighting in the cosmic space of the MCU. He's grounded in his own reality.
Yep, just like
So
Batman.
why wouldn't you want a gritty, dark character suddenly thrust into a world that's passing you by? In Brand New Day, Punisher has to deal with Jean Grey, who isn't just your typical MCU villain. She's also just an incredibly powerful mutant with these psychic abilities that Punisher cannot keep track of. Spider-Man obviously has his own fantastical powers and is also going through mutations throughout the movie. Having Punisher interact with characters like that, even when you bring in someone like the Hulk, he fights the Hulk in the movie, was really freaking sick, and also not something he would do in any of his solo projects. It really expanded what he could now do within the MCU. I think that's exactly the kind of thing that could expand Robert Pattinson's Batman. Pulling him into the greater DCU could result in a much fuller, richer version of the Batman character than anything we've ever seen before. With all that in mind, I do think Brand New Day presents a real alternative to the merger idea. That doesn't mean James Gunn will actually do it, or that Matt Reeves or Robert Pattinson even want to. I just personally believe, especially after seeing this movie and the literal billions of dollars it's going to make, that it would be a missed opportunity to introduce a new Batman when audiences are still very much in love with Robert Pattinson's take and want him to continue the role. I'd much rather see him interact with characters we already know and love than pit him against another version of Batman in the DCU. But that's just me. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Okay, thank you to this guy. Okay, hold up. Wait a sec. Wait a minute. Wait, he does bring in a good point, because even I was like, the Batman as a movie itself is quite dark. But then the Punisher is also dark, from a dark show, from a dark movie, and he's brought into this Spider-Man Brand New Day with Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man, the MCU, and somehow just fits, even though it's like a joke of a character, but he somehow fits. Now with Robert Pattinson's Batman, I think because Pattinson Batman, he learned you know how Batman is, like even in like Justice League movies, he's seen as someone who's serious, even when fighting like demons or something. So maybe they can build him. They can have him built. Oh wait, this is DCU Spiderman Darkest Day. They killed the DCU, so Darkest Day. Oh bro, Trinity of DC should be the first most important characters to establish in Gunverse. Okay, interesting take. Yeah, but I think Batman, even if you see like Ben Affleck's Batman and Justice League was a bit dark. So maybe they can do something like this for the DCUs because we saw Superman, right? We saw the hold up, let me just open this. We saw Superman 2025, last year Superman. He's a joyful character. Yeah, this guy. David Gordon Sweat. He's a joyful character, but then you have Lex Luthor. And Lex Luthor was also inside Peacemaker. And Peacemaker is a very greedy show, even though it's funny, but it's very violent. It's 18 plus. And the Penguin is a 18 plus show too. Very violent. And the Penguin was in the Batman movie. The Batman movie is greedy, but it's 13 plus. So I think they can actually cook something with Batman and Superman. Like he can show to Batman, to Robert Pattinson's Batman. David Gordon Sweat's Superman can show Robert Pattinson's Batman that not everything is dark. And Robert Pattinson's Batman can show Superman that not everything is light. So it's like a vice versa kind of thing, you know? But actually, this guy has a good take. The main reason the Batman shouldn't be canon is the risk of further fracturing the DC fan base. Separate. Yeah, most of we saw the Batman, right, and how dark it is. Like they want to keep that as his own universe. So I guess they could work something. They could work out. Could work out in some way, one way or another. The Batman higher rating, I think. Is it 83%, 85? Yup. This movie was gritty, bro. So peak, the best Batman so far. And it's not good. What do you mean, bro? Bro, we think it's Two-Face, but then it's not. Falcone. Yeah, she was good inside the Penguin show. Harvey Dent. Wait, is Sebastian Stan? Bro, they got that locked in, bro. Oh, Victor's Dash. I mean, Sebastian Stan. Victor's Dash is a killer. Psychotic killer. We have the Joker, deleted scene, which is insane. Incredible small screen stint in his own spin-off to return. Penguin's moral could be tied to his new position as a major underworld figure. Damn. Christopher Dent, Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, I think DCU can definitely cook up something with Batman without having a new Batman. But if they want to have a new Batman, I guess it would be sick too, I guess. But then they will have competing brands. I think Warner Bros. Was it Warner Bros? Or Paramount? Which companies holds rights for the new DCU and for the Batman? Warner Bros. Discovery. The Batman franchise rights. Okay. So I guess it all comes down to them to agree if they will have competing characters, the same characters but competing in two versions, like Robert Pattinson's Batman and maybe a new Batman. Sort of speculations with like Jason Ackles and stuff. They want Jason Ackles to be the new Batman, or like who else? I don't know. Anyways, even X-Men, even the guy said X-Men has not been introduced, and yet Jean Grey, crazily powerful, and they were still able to keep that seriousness in the movie in Spider-Man Brand New Day if you watch the movie. But anyway, that's all for now. This guy brings really interesting points though. The Spider-Man Brand New Day does set a stepping stone for DCU's Batman if they ever want to merge with the official DCU, and it's dark. Like DCU, because Superman is in the DCU technically, and then even Clayface is in DCU, so that's why. If Clayface can be in the DCU, then why not the Batman, right? So because Clayface is gonna be 18 plus, I think. Clayface 18 plus. Even the Batman is not. He was 18 plus, but like R rating, yeah. The Batman age rating 18. Yeah, it's not. It's PG-13. Even Clayface is in DCU with David Superman. Yes. So if Clayface can be, I don't see why the Batman cannot be, because Clayface is primarily Batman's villain, and is a very dark villain. Even the trailers we saw that he's very dark, and the Batman is a very dark movie, and the Penguin is a very dark show, and then they could merge it. Just like how Spider-Man is and how dark Punisher is. They turned him into somewhat kind of a joke, but he was still somewhat serious. But I feel like Batman, like I said, with Ben Affleck and the Justice League, Batman and Justice League, Superman, all that, Justice League was quite dark. But then we have the Flash, who's like a jokey character. But then Ben Affleck's Batman is still maintaining power, still maintaining aura and all that. It doesn't lose his cool, so maybe they can do that with Robert Pattinson. But that's all from me now. For now, you guys stay healthy and take care. Excited for the Batman, Clayface, the Penguin season 2, even Welcome to Derry season 2. And the two movies were great, but the ending for how they beat it in Welcome to Derry is pretty peak. It's better than the movies, I think. And so that's all from me. Take care.